Yeah, hey, well, I guess when um, our original instructions, Cisnachine, Mount Blanca in Colorado, Totem, Mount Taylor to the south, to the west, Mount Humphreys, to the north, uh, Mount Hesperus, Sacred Mountain, this totem pole just traveled to the west of it this morning. Original instructions. You're placed here. This is your home. So I'm going to do something that's a little bit different, kind of like the old knock knock. So you say knock knock. What's that? What's that means come in. And so I just welcome you to Ahogan, the Indigenous homeland. You know, growing up, we never envisioned having to stand up and speak for the land, the air, the water, and the sacred. But today, we have to. I want to recognize, and the thing about it, Sonella Sam Sage has been in this fight the longest among all of us. And then some of us rowdy ones like Mario Atencio, Kendra Pinto, and myself. One time there was a meeting here. One of the grandmothers stood up and says, "Hey, you've been a leader before. You can understand the English language. You can talk Navajo. Help us. Help us." And so subsequently, we held another meeting. More grandmas showed up. And I want to recognize Sonella. Sonella, easy. She's one of the ones that gave us our orders, gave us our permission. When we came back, I spoke to the folks. Our sphere of influence is only this big. Our knowledge about this fracking technology is even smaller. The grandmas, we asked, can we get your permission to reach out to the other organizations around to help us? And they basically says yes. And so the subsequent meeting, the first group that was there, the grandmother organization of all Navajo environmental justice issues on the Navajo Nation, Diné care. And if I could have Adela Montoya, Carol Davis, are they in the audience? Wave to the people. They're back there. They're one of the first groups here. Then, of course, Sierra Club and Wild Earth Guardians. And with their help, we increased the knowledge. And of course, the folks that also helped us is a brother that passed on to the next world, Dr. Larry Emerson. another one that was schooled in environmental issues. So one of the first persons that came and says, let's do an HIA. And Teresa Seamster, where are you sitting at? She's one of the ones that said, let's do it, HIA, Health Impact Assessment. Then from there, Dr. Larry Emerson says, yeah, that's what happens over there. The data is just this person reports issues, this person issue, and they become data. Well, Dr. Larry Emerson said, let's look at it through our Navajo lens, what we hold sacred. Land, air, water, the secret. What we have. And involving, initially we had called it Hozongonata. However, that changed to Beda Einani Sala. And Dr. David Gay is our principal investigator. What this looking at it in Navajo lens, Navajo core values. Yes, you report your issues, but you also report your issues that your brother has, your sister, the community, the families. And what we're finding, what we found, just like Mother Earth is being fractured, the communities are being fractured. The families are fractured. Chiche Mario spoke about it. The issues we're split on. So that's how we basically, and what we learned about is the resource management plan had been adopted in 2003. That plan went back and forth on Highway 550. It never stopped here for the community to have input. What the chapter officials got here was a Dear Tribal Leader letter. And I'm sure all the other Pueblo governors got that same letter. And so with the help of our allies, we basically started learning the regulatory process and even the legislative process. Yes, during that time, Standing Rock was going on. People came and says, let's do direct action. Let's chain ourselves to the facilities. Let's lay down in the road to stop the semi-trucks. No. We have grandmas. Their homes are right next, 330 feet away from some of these fracking sites. Federal law regulations supposed to be 600 feet, but they're given waivers. And so in that aspect, then one of the first persons that basically joined us is the late Chanala Robert Tohi. One day he calls, hey, Chanala, I'm bringing a national organizer from Sierra Club. Can you give us a tour of the oil sites? Sure. We met over there about 12 miles from here. And we went on oil site visits. After about 6 hours out there, then I sat in the back, and Miss Lena Moffett had brought her mom. And she says, do you have a name for this tour that you brought us on? No. She says, can I offer a name? And that's where the Fracking is Fracking reality tour was born. I didn't know it would be an assignment, but it was. And there's been countless countless people. We've had people, imagine this, Ruth Breach with Rainforest Action Network came here, and we have support in that manner. And there's so many other folks that I never kept a log about who all came, but it's amazing. And for all of you folks here, thank you for your kind heart. Thank you for your strong spirit and your mental toughness to stand up to what we're facing across the United States. And never did we expect what we started here would gain national attention. Our focus on changing policy, focus on changing regulations, addressing the safety of our young ones and our elder. And then comes one of the foremost leaders in the United States Congress. One day we got a phone call that Representative Deb Haaland, Chairman Raul Grijalva, Congressman Ben Ray Lujan, and a Chairman Lowenthal from Southern California. We took them on the fracking reality tour. They saw the methane leaking from the oil facilities through the FLIR camera. They smelled the VOCs, the methane. They saw where oil companies are drawing fresh, precious water out of the aquifer to go pipe it to the fracking operations. And they saw that the community homes near this pipeline did not have access to that water. So the injustice was first witnessed on a first-hand basis, and it's been quite the experience. And we really appreciate Mr. Ryan Lee's presence here because, as you know, Congresswoman Deb Haaland introduced the Chaco Protection Act, along with then Congressman Lujan and Raul Grijalva and Congressman Lowenthal, and it passed. So now Congressman Lujan is now a senator, and we just met, 17 days ago with him. The folks that want development want a 5-mile buffer zone. Us, we want the 10-mile buffer. And so that's where the issues are. And the new Senate version is still being drafted, still being talked about. And so that's where we're at. And again, our original work, we never envisioned that we would reach across to the Lummi, to the folks supporting Bears Ears, to the Standing Rock folks, and then, of course, to relative Winona LaDuke. It's just amazing. And I guess the other thing I want to do is there's a group within the Arctic Circle, the Gwich'in. They are our relatives. Navajo stories on this side is Diné. They're still in the north. The ones that are related, they're still up there with us. Sam and Bernadette, they had a real good conversation. And some of the words sound the same and have similar meanings to the Diné. And so we know we are connected. And we thank everybody, again, to our allies. When there were protest letters, the message was sent out. 35,000 protest letters were emailed to our allies. Sam and I delivered those letters at a protest rally in Santa Fe, New Mexico to the state director of the BLM. Didn't come out. It was the communications officer. So in that manner, we have impact, and we also, I guess, in moving forward, a lot of our work has been to reach out. And I just want to acknowledge Beata Sosi Pena. She's my nulla, my uncle's granddaughter, blood relatives. And I have close connections over there. When I was a young kid, my mom would take us up there. You stay with your auntie for a week, so I got to run Santa Clara Pueblo with the cousins. Well, anyway, so we reach across, then Pueblo Action Alliance formed, and now we're together. And it's amazing. We're all in this work. Protect the Greater Chaco landscape. Yes, the historical park is there, but there are other great houses. There are other sacred places all through the area. And as one of the early meetings, our Pueblo historic preservation officers stood up and says, this whole Southwest is sacred. So in that way, and so you saw that I got water from the river. I got permission made offering. I'm going to take some water. I'm going to use it. Grant us the privilege to use it. And so that's how, and even what my nephew, David J. Sosi, prayed, it was fabulous. The prayer and the song, among the people we walk, that may not agree with us, that may dislike us, that may pray that we're not successful, we're going to be walking among them. And the prayer is we're going to walk through them and get what we intend to do. So, thank you. Thank you. Asheha. Chiquedo Sidene. Astui Sazani. Chitkizane. And I really want to also, this older man here with the cowboy hat. It's not us, he's Zane. We just are blessed to have Mr. Frank Atakai. He's a member of the Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission. The right to water is a human right. So I really appreciate Mr. Atakai being here. I was just going to introduce him, but it looks like he wants to talk. So, Koala, Astui.
Yeah, hello. And I'm Doc Hoda. Oh, I told me that 那还有些比那早，好了好早早就是按多少钱了些呢？看的，那个，但提到你的看的，他比你大阿的，你是他的接到看的，谁比你大的谁快，你快。那个都看你的你的嘞，看的，你的知道大头，或这个那团的，那好吃呢，那早看。It's aro yoido saas. Aro koro bansek kestolet. Do hago se yanad nitolet. Ako here, di koje, counselor chapter. Dan here, koro bandat ego. Kotego saitza. Se tolet einin slena kaid nebasis chin. Kia ane da se chedo, tsena chene da sinala. Se to nenda ho kori. Sta. Kodet na ho kons. Secretary, North Dakota, Ojibwa, Ego, Yeda Pedabotche Ada. As Latino anaste, Dohasi Kego, Akogo, Dear Yan here, where cookie, Coda, Da Sergeant, Niginat, Da Sergeant, Nahalia, Ako here, that he need all this, oh, but this need all this. I know. How many of you heard or understood Navajo? Anybody? 3 of you? I just want to extend my appreciation to everyone for their dedication, for their wanting to do what we are doing here. This is a once in a lifetime thing that a lot of us have seen. And thank you to the Lummi tribe for doing this. And we thank you again for everything. Okay, Mr. So, kodo, hui aswa, kotego. Ni nachede ya hote, yeah, and the steel of it. Mr. Daniel So.
Koshila hela shija. Bring Attica. Told it in the Bashishin Aro. We have an agenda. You use it. That's what they say. Really wanted. They said San Juan Citizens for Collaborative for Health Equity, instrumental in this cause also. So thank you. All Pueblo Council of Governor, Secretary Michael Trujillo Hucko. Come on down, your next contestant. The price is right. Former Governor Walatoa Jimenez Pueblo. Shanantai, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Atencio. Mr. Atencio just gave me a brand new name. Good morning, everybody. I used to be David M. Toledo. It's good to see everybody. Nice crowd, nice, beautiful faces from here. I am privileged to be here on behalf of all Pueblo Council of Governors. I am the secretary down there in Albuquerque. With me today, I am escorted with the all Pueblo Council of Governors Youth Committee. Can you please rise, please? Taryn Tyler. Before I do my little statement here, I'd like to just greet you in my language. I was a former governor, Pueblo of Jemez, past 2 years. Been dealing with a lot of issues in the state of New Mexico, the whole nation. And when there's an event like this, it's a blessing for all of us. So I enjoy being here. I'm privileged to represent my Pueblo, all Pueblo Council of Governors, and just being native today is a beautiful day. Ti we che toi te che de te o ta he to te tu yo mo jun so o kwa la shu na o kwa ma pe ti ai to ne ko le ti na o ta ho gi mo jun ge to te na kwa ke ma ti we ka ti na mo mo le ya ma te ye tian jo sa jo ma te mo le ne ge o ki no le hung da bu kwa mo zin ta bu kwa o se ho de le ho se wo she kwa po zin le ta kwe de tong she ne kwe kwa mo chu ta ba pe ti sa to hui ang e teng wai ki bo ko ong bo ko kwa ke kwe ba na ta shu kwe ya na kwe ya ko e ma sa o ta ong hon jo num ke to kwa ke hon le wo kwe kwa la shu na ong ta ka la bu o ta o ta po kwe le num kwa ke hon la se do kwe he pun te o pe o lin to le kwa ke hon shu no ho ta o ta to yo hon da nu o totem po o non peta o quella shona o hu ke fai de kwa ke homi no ke nai to ho tu no peta o shu te gan to den kwa de kwi me so da bata ye o pa ye shene pa o se te kwi pe me pe ve to me so no kwi te se te ta ta kwa to me she to ta she de ye. Thank you. I just express in my language that we are all special people that came to bring blessings and prayers on behalf of our Lummi Nation relatives. With our prayers and blessings that we bring, may we all be united, and may we protect our sacred lands, our sacred water, our wildlife, and most importantly, let us all protect the sacred people sitting before me. Greetings, Councilman Daniel So, Chapter President Damian Augustine, Lummi, Carvers, organizers of this momentous event, Miss LeBlanc, thank you for putting all this energy with us today. On behalf of Chairman Wilfred Herrero and the All Pueblo Council of Governors, collectively representing the 20 Pueblo governors of New Mexico and Texas, I share that we stand in solidarity with the Red Road to DC Totem Pole to protect sacred sites. Today, we are here to bring awareness and advocate for the protection of the Greater Chaco region, its landscapes, and the well-being of our our Navajo and Puebloan peoples who hold these places to be of utmost significance to our living and ongoing cultural practices. Pueblo elders teach us, recounting our emergence, that the Creator gifted to our foremothers and forefathers all that would be essential to sustain us physically, mentally, and spiritually on our journey through life as stewards of these lands and for the ecosystems that exist within them. The Greater Chaco region remains part of this sacred trust. Since time immemorial, we have fulfilled our sacred trust to be stewards of our Mother Earth. In him, as we call Mother Earth, Nometai Ze'e. So as people here, we need to be examples to protect our Mother Earth. And we can do all that in our own backyards, in our own communities, taking care of our Mother Earth and not trash it. I myself, I'm a strong believer in Mother Earth. I am always, I'm a farmer. I use the water. I grow chili, corn, melons, anything that Mother Earth will give me. So we need to be conscious of how we clean and take care of our Mother Earth. We have to start in our own homes, and we can't say on the larger scale, when it comes to a national level, take care of Mother Earth. We have to start at home. So just a friendly reminder. Across the nation are innumerable sacred sites and cultural resources needing our collective attention, advocacy, prayers, and strength, such as Snake River, Bears Ears, Chaco Canyon, Black Hills, Missouri River, Standing Rock Reservation, White Earth Reservation, and many others beyond the destination of this journey. The fight to preserve our health and well-being and our most precious sacred resources is not something only tribal leaders can accomplish alone. We respect, love, and honor the dedication and resiliency of organizers, of our youth, of our elders, and the people who help guide our collective decision-making. The strength gifted to each of you by our Creator to stand up For sacred sites, protection is valued and not ignored. You all teach us, remind us, and inspire us to advance your calls to action. The All Pueblo Council of Governors is proud to stand in solidarity among you all. Please be strong in your determination, and we will continue to keep each of you in our prayers and advocacy through the Red Road to DC, Totem Pole journey, and beyond. Thank you all so much for your time today. Have a beautiful day, and we look forward to working with you throughout the next few months as a Totem Pole makes this journey on behalf of all of us, our people, our prayers, and the native way of life. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Mr. Secretary, please forgive me. Internet's not infallible. So with that, thank you for those really good words. Good statement from the All Pueblo Council of Governors. Just shows you there is solidarity. The narrative isn't always one-sided. The people united cannot be defeated. So with that, call upon local leadership. Mr. Damien Augustine couldn't be here today, but we have Vice President Mr. Harry Domingo Jr. Hucko Senior. Excuse me. Chief.
Yes.
Yeah, it is really an honor to take part in this event here. We will always cherish this memory here. We heard that it's coming and when it will be here, now it's here. Council chapter, because we're Eastern agency. I'm really surprised we were the least remembered here. I mean, the Lord knows his people. He remembers his people, no matter how few we are. He blesses us with friends, a lot of friends. I just want to thank and welcome everybody here. States and state. Welcome address the leech that noye and atenil rasgit to honagara ho. Atist non latin welcome Kwela Kode Atarats so slate or lit. Halat Asen Zagway old Kittle. A Koya Quasana.
Thank you, Mr. Harry Domingo Sr., Chapter Vice President, Councilors Chapter. And let's keep on the agenda here. We have on the agenda Pueblo Action Alliance. They have a statement to read. Abigail, we'll have staff from Senator Ben Ray's office. So.
Teno a ni washale bahi ni to ta e te no pa sho ba. Hello everyone, my name is Reyes DeVore. I am the Community Programming Director for Pueblo Action Alliance. Thank you all for being here today. It's been a beautiful turnout thus far. We hope that you continue to enjoy yourself for the rest of the day. But yeah, I am here before you to read a collective statement on behalf of Pueblo Action Alliance. As you guys, we're a partnering organization that has been working years in building solidarity and meaningful relationships with our Diné relatives because we truly believe in building that Pueblo Diné solidarity. And so the statement that I read for you all today comes from our team. So if you get a chance, you can head on over there to the table. So shout out to our Pueblo Action Alliance team. So we are Pueblo Action Alliance, a collective of women, femme, two-spirit, and young Pueblo people who are dedicated to dismantling systems and institutions that have directly impacted our communities, cultures, and landscapes. The Greater Chaco region holds the ancestral history of our people and remains a place of centricity to the Indigenous peoples of the Southwest. It has lineage to Bears Ears, Mesa Verde, and all of our existing communities. And for the past 100 years has been a central place for resource extraction and sacrifice supported by the federal government. This cultural landscape not only carries ancestral and traditional ecological knowledge, but it is also the homelands of our Diné relatives who are directly impacted by the historical and current infrastructure to progress oil and gas operations. This region is also plagued with coal mining, uranium mining, and resource extraction, and we stand against any development that destroys our lands, waters, people, and culture. The carbon, methane, VOCs, and other toxic emissions in the region are causing generational health impacts to the communities. The trucks and the presence of the oil and gas workers are threatening the livelihood to those neighboring the fracking wells, resulting in missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. The produced water spills are contaminating the aquifers and is slowly encroaching in places like Chaco Canyon. This is an act of modern genocide, as human rights are being violated every single day. Our sacred places are being desecrated for the expansion of fossil fuels, and so we stand. We are the resistance against the extension of extractive colonialism. Young people should have more stake in how our ancestral lands are being managed, but this is our future we have to face. With the current climate crisis, we have to take strong stances against the dominant power so that our futures have a chance, so that our culture has a chance, and we can continue to pass our experiences and teaching to the upcoming generations. We have youth here who are taking time to speak with you all here today because their message is unapologetic to the legacy of resource extraction that they are working to clean up, which is not their mess in the first place, but they're here and we acknowledge that the leaders have been passing on this work to continue. You know, a lot of people ask us, how do we get involved in this work? How did you start activism? It's not activism. It's life work. We ask our leadership to continue fighting to protect places that are important to us, to protect the water, the land, and the people. And we also ask our leadership to think of us, the young people, when making decisions. We must take collective action in order to stop further desecration to the landscape and continue our solidarity with our Diné relatives and our Pueblo relatives and all Indigenous peoples across our Earth Mother who are doing that life work to protect their ancestral homelands from industry. Thank you for the collective support that we have gained over the years of organizing efforts to protect Chaco and the Greater Chaco region. And to the relatives of the Illumination, the House of Tears, who are bringing their medicine from the Pacific Northwest to remind the Department of Interior that we're still here. And thank you to Native Organizers Alliance, Illuminatives, Natural History Museum, All Pueblo Council of Governors, Diné Care, Native American Voters Alliance Education Project, and our team at PAA for organizing this event. This moment is proof that collective power can create and nurture ceremonial action.
Hi, it's me again. What's up? You can't get rid of me, huh? Let's hear it for Reyes DeVore. Yeah! La, 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 la. Tight. Thank you, everybody at Pueblo Action Alliance. Thank you, Native Organizers Alliance. Thank you, everybody who's helping. Thankful for this tent and the people who came to set up and brought it to us. Next on our agenda, we got to stick to this agenda. It's one of the community agreements, and we need to do it. So next on stack, we have Brian Lee from Senator Ben Ray Lujan's staff to read a letter on behalf of Secretary Deb Haaland. So here's Brian coming up here.
It's still morning, right? He said 10. He said half hour, right? You got half hour. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. On behalf of Senator Lujan, Secretary Haaland, thank you for allowing us a few minutes to talk about the importance of why we're here. This is a great occasion. When Daniel So calls and he says, jump, I say, on who? If it wasn't for Councilman Daniel So, this community would not be benefiting for so much, would not have survived COVID, would not have gone through the pandemic so easily, because Daniel So called day in and day out, needing help for this community. When the senator heard about the needs out here, broadband, healthcare, school busing, everything, it came from Daniel So. The councilman is one of the most powerful persons on Navajo Nation. And I can take that to the bank and make sure that his voice is going to be continually heard. So thank you, Councilman, for being that strong, dedicated voice. The voice is heard loud and clear. But I also want to point out somebody else who's also here. I don't see him right now, but he'll pop up somewhere. Secretary Alvin Warren is here somewhere. I just want to say thank you to Secretary Warren, because if it wasn't for his leadership, the seeds that he planted back then are popping up today. They're springing up everywhere. They're blooming. They're producing fruit. So thank you, Secretary, for your hard work, for the dedication you provided, for sitting at that table day in and day out, because people like you are needed in the state, the federal government, county governments, and municipal governments. In fact, speaking of municipal governments, I brought a friend of mine here who's a friend of yours, our good friend Aztec Mayor Victor Snover. Give him a hand. When Deb Haaland and Congressman Lujan and Luan Lowenhall and Grijalva came to town and went to Chaco, he was the first person to call me. He says, I want to go. I want to be a part of that group. I want to hear them. And that's why he's here today. He's continuing the journey with you. So thank him for being a part of this group. Thank him for being a part of what you guys are doing here. And lastly, you have a commitment from the senator to be at your table. He brought a few of you to his table. I want to thank Mr. Sage. What's the other gentleman's name? Mario, and then your brother-in-law. They came to the table and spoke eloquently and delivered a very compelling, moving argument for why this is important. The senator's going to stand with his legislation on protecting Chaco. I can give you that. We are also going to stand with you to make sure that everybody is compensated for uranium mining. And to make sure that cleanup happens. We don't want to move one pile to another pile while it's still on Navajo Nation. We want to make sure that protections are in place. We want to make sure that sacredness is in place. And we want to make sure that you continue that fight and that you still have a voice listening to you, hearing you, and fighting for you in Congress. And from Secretary Holland, she wants to thank you for coming together like this. I know this is going to her. This is her journey. This is part of where this is going. She's ready. I talked to her yesterday. She was with the senator yesterday. They were looking at a new addition to the interior landscape, and they were quite pleased of what they're getting. On behalf of some of the Pueblos, on behalf of the Hickory Apache Nation, that was coming together because of them too. So greater things are happening. Beautiful things are happening. It's because of you and your work. Continue your work, continue your voice, continue to scream loud and clear because we hear you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Brian, everybody. One more round of applause. Thank you so much for coming out and speaking. Thank you to Secretary Howland. We miss you here at your home. Next, we have Doug James. I'm sticking to the agenda. Next, we have Doug James, who's a Lumi carver. Also, we need to give it up for Doug even more because he's actually driving the totem pole from coast to coast. So let's give it up for Doug. Thank you.
I can't thank you all enough. But first of all, I'd like to give the credit to where the credit's due. And that's to the Creator, because the Lord opened up the way for us to be here today and standing in unity with each and every one of you. You know, we've come all the way down to Washington State, all the way down the West Coast. You know, we put on about 12,000 miles on the first half of the journey. But it's reaching out and touching the hearts of each and every one that we, as Native people across this vast land, are standing in unity for the sole purpose of what we're going to leave behind for our children. When the time comes down to where we're long gone in dust, what kind of baton are we going to pass down to them? You know, and so today our voice is really, really important. They're going to hear a shout from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. You know, the Lord put these journeys on our heart, you know, when it started back in 9/11. And that was the beginning of these journeys, and that was 20 years ago. We're still here. He's still moving us along this country. And what these poles are they're gifts. We've never charged for any of it. The funds that were raised were all donations to get us from point A to point B. And it's all inspired to lift up the nation when 9/11 happened. We brought a pole across country and called it the Healing Pole Journey. And we're calling people to come and put your hand upon that pole and send your prayer across country. Send it to those that perished and those that were left behind during 9/11. And it worked. It drew people together and brought them to a place to where they can lay their prayer down, send it across, and let their tears fall. And the same thing happened the second year was, they says, well, what are we going to do about Flight 93 for those that sacrificed their life? And so we've carved another one for Shanksville. We brought it right to the crash site, and it did the same thing. Third year, we says, well, what about the Pentagon? What are we going to do about that? And so there was a 3-piece carved for the Pentagon, 2 12-foot uprights and a 20-foot cross piece, double-headed eagle, and stood that in the Congressional Cemetery. This ain't our work that we're doing, it's God's work, you know. And I'd like to share this, you know, because in 2013, we had a pastor come to our land, and he sat down in one of our strategy meetings that we were having because we were going to put on a gathering, a healing gathering at home at Lummi, and watched as 2 guys come walk in and sit down at our tables. And I'm watching the rest of the crew, you know, nobody said hi to them. Nobody acknowledged these 2 guys. So I stopped the meeting and I said, I want everybody to introduce yourselves, starting from here and go all the way around. Got over to this guy and I says, all right, now tell me who you are, why you're here, and who sent you. He looked at me like that, you know, and he says, sure, I can do that. I'm a pastor out of Bellingham. My church is on the corner of James and Sunset, and asked for who sent me. God sent me. I said, okay, I can't argue with that. You want to elaborate on that a little more? And he says, sure. I was told to come here and tell you folks that we got to get together and pray together for what's coming, for what God has got coming. He told me 2 years prior to being here tonight is that he's going to do a great work in the Pacific Northwest. And he said, it's going to start here in your land. He said, I don't care where we pray, but I was told it has to be on this land because it's going to start it here. He also said that it's really, really important to pray for the healing of the land. If the land can heal, the people heal. So I want to lift up my brother Susiath. I really, he's really missed on these journeys. We've stood beside each other for 20 years doing this. And not to have him here now really impacts us. And I just want to reach out and ask the Lord to watch over him, lift him up, and lay his healing hands down upon him. He needs prayer. He's really going through some hard trials right now. So I can't thank all of you enough for allowing us the breath of time to come and mix our tracks here with you and with all the ancestors that walked this land before you. It's a great, great honor to watch what God is unfolding before us. He's calling all of us together to stand in unity. He did not forget the native people. The first will be last and the last will be first. Aishka.
My name is Siamawit, and I'm Sitka Kadam's wife. And I just wanted to add just a couple of words. And we do want to stick to the agenda. I just wanted to say, as I was listening to the Navajo language and realizing the richness of the language, and United States of America, oh, the Navajo language, great honor for saving the country and saving the world. So my hands up to the home language of this land. That's all I had to say from my heart.
No, go ahead. Okay.
How about another round of applause for Uncle Sidki Kadam and Siamawit, Sasiath. I want a round of applause for our friends in the security, been helping us. Give them a big round of applause. Our camera and our team right here, Jason Jones, Becca from the Natural History Museum. Please give them a round of applause. Bo and Nikki. Also want to do a shout out. Wave Melanie. Melanie's over there. If you're an artist, give her a round of applause. She's been traveling about 16,000 miles with us. So she's a true Red Road warrior. If you're an artist, just going to do a plug for Melanie and all the artists. You see them busy over there. We're going to talk real loud because we also want them to continue to do their art as just like many good things, our message has to continue. And so, Siama Nostalgia, so Hila Quinasanatacho, Tikaya, Siama Nostalgia, so Caleb, Sanasnat. It's true, my heart is glad to be here with each and every one of you in the footsteps of Uncle Sidki Kadam, who I've watched speak over the last 20 years and taught me a thing or two about these journeys. And if it feels like we're talking loud, we're not even using our longhouse voice, where the longhouse would extend about as far as the telephone pole back there, and it would stand about a couple 3 stories high here, maybe 3 stories higher than this wire here. And you used to stand in ancient times, it would stand at one end, and it was up to the speaker to speak and to talk to every single person near and far. And so sometimes our words have to be harsh, but that's because, we're resilient. And as Indigenous people, we're so blessed to have survived the American Holocaust. And for you young people, my name's Freddie Lane. My Indian name's Salkadab. I'm number 11 of 12 of the late Vernon and Nancy Lane, both of Lummi. I was raised a Catholic. I graduated from Chemawa Indian School in Salem, Oregon. Any Chemawa alumni in the house? Absolutely not. Wow. Oh, I see one way back there. Yeah, give her a round of applause. Proud, brave there. We travel to sacred sites, to sacred springs, rivers, the sacred Salish Sea. We've traveled to our sacred site up on Orcas Island. The Juanitum name is Mount Constitution. We're taking the totem pole from Hollywood Beach, which is in Port Angeles, Washington, to Hollywood, California. And then from Hollywood, California, we went to Hollywood, Florida, to the home of the great Seminole people. I want to thank most especially our major awesome tribes that have helped us on our West Coast tour and our Northwest tour, especially Francis Charles and the great Lower Elwha S'Klallam tribe. Gas money to help out Uncle Doug and the home team. We got to drive to DC and then we got to come back. But before I forget too, I'd also like to invite each of you September 1st. We're having a no-host tribal journeys. The elders in the back, they got my number. Now, don't be posting that now anywhere. But we're going to invite you up to our potluck September 1st, where we're going to gather. It's going to be a no-host. We got some our relatives that want to continue the canoe journey. If you ever came to canoe journey, that's when all the canoes come ashore. And so on September 1st, it's a Wednesday, it's Labor Day weekend, and we hope that you can make it. If you want to come witness the canoes, come get your camping gear, come bring your own picnic basket, and come and join us September 1st in Clackamas territory. It's not sponsored by the tribe, so we're all doing this real grassroots, just like our effort here. And so I'm a former tribal council leader. I lost my re-election on Halloween. I thought that was a bad voodoo anyway. Somebody trying to get re-elected after COVID on Halloween just sometimes doesn't happen. But if I did get elected, I don't know that we would be doing this gathering right here. This is what's sacred, you young people. This is what's sacred. The pole isn't sacred. As our elder from Vancouver Island, Tom Sampson, told us 20 years ago. Still waiting. He told us that the pole isn't what's sacred. What's sacred is each and every one of you here, right now, taking this breath of time. We know that you could be at church today. For those that are going to church, this is kind of our church. This is our modern day church. And we're standing up as protectors, not protesters. But if you want us to get mad and send a message, well, we'll come and bring it with a loud voice. With each and every one of you. With our elders. With the ancestors. The ancestors. Every single one of you. Check. Uh-oh. Every single one of you. Red, white, black, and yellow. We all have ancestors. This is Hummingbird. I hope she's watching. But she said, when we was in Miami, there's things you do and do not do. And that's one, most importantly, don't ever build on an ancestral site. She told me the story. For those of you that are fashion divas like me, I love my Versace glasses and my Versace. Every now and again, I'm able but to talk about again, it's not polite. And so we were on our way from Hollywood to south of Miami. It's called Deering Estates, and it's really sacred. It's just beautiful. On the way out there, Mrs. Hummingbird, Catherine Hummingbird, she's Caribbean diva, Caribbean queen, and she says, Fred, did you know that fashion designer Versace? Did you know that he built his estate on an ancient sacred shell mound? She said, did you know that? And I said, no. And it just reminded me of how the great and powerful fashion designer Gianni Versace died. And for those of you that know, he was assassinated. He died on his own property, that sacred site. And so it's just a reminder of the power of the ancestors, the power of those that are standing behind you, beside you, whispering into your ear, saying, can you hear me? Do you know why we stand up for sacred sites and to protect sacred waters? Our relatives in Fort McDermott, where it was the last journey. True story, we were just there. In Owyhee on the Idaho-Nevada border. And I got the mosquito bites from Owyhee, let me tell you. But Fort McDermott, there's a proposed largest lithium mine in the world. And they told us the stories of the mercury mine and how these mining companies are people too. Corporations are people. They're very powerful. They have no heart. They have no soul. They have no feelings. They don't care about your children's future. They don't care about your water that you drink. They don't care or speak or even think to consult you. And it's time us Indian people send the message that consultation is not consent. If I offend anybody, like Uncle Smitty says, I'm not sorry. But you know, we have to stand strong. And yesterday, God is my witness, seeing all the tribal leaders come. That was the most tribal leaders that we've seen together on this journey at one place. And so I commend, round of applause for the leaders coming together. We're all of us tribes are fighting. All of our tribes were fighting in the Northwest. And Jewel James, he reminds us, that we got to sometimes set down our differences, that we got to come together and be of one heart and one mind. I'd swallowing, as Uncle always shares. Think about those boarding schools. We visited 3. The last one was in just Durango here. If you ever go to Fort Lewis College, I was so proud of that one student that got up. She called out the president of the college. She said, "Where's the president at? Where's the local leaders?" And that's what we're doing. My dad is a former chairman of the tribe. He stood up to the government. You could look it up. 1969, I was 1 year old. And he built the aquaculture at Lummi Nation. And you know what? He built it without permission. He built it without the United States Army Corps of Engineers, our trustee that we trust. But he built it without their permission. So you don't need permission from the federal government. If you're sovereign, live it, breathe it, exercise it. Because if you don't, like Jewel says, he said this, he says, when you walk into a meeting at NCAI or whatnot, get the tribal leaders in front. Get the director, talk directly to, we can't have attorneys coming in. We can't have non-natives speaking for us. It's time for us to stop, recognize, stand up, and be together, swallowing with one heart, one mind. And for you young people, go to school. I can honestly say that I went to art school. Guess what classes I failed? Photography and photography and video. What am I doing 35 years later and still making a living off of it? Photography and video. So you don't need a degree. If you need permission to speak up, you have permission. I've been doing Native Vote since 1996. its inception back in the day. And in 2000, in our state, we had Senator Slade Gordon. Well, Slade's an Indian hater. Slade's gone now. And there's nothing like fighting an Indian fighter. There's nothing like organizing and fighting the good fight and standing up. Your letters, your phone calls, when you call your congressman and leave a message, when you call your senator and leave a message, when we're all gonna come together in DC on July 28th, you're welcome to come and stand with us. You're welcome to jump in your car. Come stand with us. And if you can't, we understand. We're all vaccinated. We're all going with a good heart and a good mind. We're all in this together. And I was looking at the pipelines on the way in. And we have a pipeline under our river. And it's real important that we continue to stand up and organize. Get out and vote. Get out and stand up and speak for those children at your boarding schools that were nearby. Get up and speak for those who can't speak for themselves, the four-legged, your insects. They're all part of creation, like Sasya says. They're all sacred. They're all sacred, all things great and small. We're all related. All of us, red, white, black, and yellow. And if we don't stand strong, if we don't continue in a good way, then we're divided, and that's where we start to fall apart. And we want you to know that we carry your message with a good heart and a good mind. And I really appreciate the ancestors that have been following all the last 18,000 miles. They're standing right all around the invisible loved ones, taking care of you, taking care of us. And I just want to leave you with, we're all here for a reason. Each and every one of us, no matter how tough life gets. I'm a three-time suicide survivor. And I say that not proudly, but that just so each of you know that you're sacred. You're here with permission of the Great Spirit. Only the Great Spirit has permission to take you from this world. And so I thank the Great Spirit for allowing me to be here, to be friends with Judith, to stand with Uncle Doug, to stand with Siamawit, and to have a good heart and good mind, and to tell each and every one of you that we love you. We love each and every one of you. And we wouldn't be here if we didn't care. And if you care about Mother Earth, then you stand tall, stand proud, and know that again, we're going to invite you up on September 1st if you want to come stand with us again and celebrate. Haiska Siam. Hey, Siam.
Yeah. Let's see. I just want you to know we've set up some of the folks from Santa Fe already put a donation. And if folks that are gathered here, if they would want to add to that pile, then we will hand it over to Judith so they can use it on their journey to Washington, D.C. So if you're in of that mindset, we'd appreciate some donation. So thank you. And then we appreciate everybody's listening, and some of the speeches, they touch the heart, they touch the mind, and then, of course, the spirit. Thank you so very much. And right now, where we're at, we have to depend on lawyers. Right now. And that's the thing that we have to really understand. We have to depend on our congressional leadership, because we've already elevated our issues that high. And that's the part that I want to just impart on everybody. The work that we started here, we want it to impact policy, law. And so now that's where we're at this point. And we just support song, prayer, ceremony. That's how we support what we're doing here. We hope that's what holds us together at this point in time. And I just want to reiterate that. And we appreciate everybody's travels to be here. And again, as we break bread together, we'll remember this gathering for quite some time. Yeah. Oh.
Daniel. So real quick, I just want to acknowledge all of the Diné, Pueblo, and Apache elders who have been doing this fight for a long time, and the fight that we as youth are picking up and continuing forward. I want to give them a round of applause. There's a lot of them here. A lot of them have spoken. This is not new here. Extractive resources have been taken from this area for a long time. And I'm just happy to have everybody here and working together. It's so nice. But with that said, who can guess what I'm going to bring out again? Yeah, the agenda. There you go. I love the agenda. Okay, so we're going to break for lunch. But before we do that, I just want to give a quick announcement about how lunch is going to go. So we have our youth interns for Pueblo Action Alliance ready to distribute tables under here so everybody can have a place to eat. You will be going inside. If you were here for breakfast, just line up the same way, cafeteria style, where the concession stand is inside. And you can bring your lunches out here. Those who are able to help move chairs, I please ask that you help us do so. But we're going to break for lunch, and if the others want to go get in line first, and so all of us young people can set up lunch for y'all. Yeah, thank you.
There was a request, partner organization representatives of the Greater Chaco Coalition. There's a request that at this time that the partner organizations take this time to take a picture in front of the totem pole.